Hey, this is Alex from the Good Old Boys Fantasy Football Podcast. To see more videos like this from the Good Old Boys, hit subscribe and support this independent podcast.
And we're going to hit up here the stacks to draft. So, what are the favorite stacks that you are actively drafting? I'll go ahead and start it off. One of my favorite stacks to draft is the Jordan Love, Romeo Dobbs combination here. Both of these guys you can get super late. Jordan love that one in the Superflex type of leagues there, picking him up as my second, even third QB in some of these leagues. He's got one of the easiest schedules. Quarterback to face off against starts off with a very favorable schedule. Romeo Dobbs, we've been over this one multiple times, but I think Romeo Dobbs will end up leading the Packers in targets and receptions, and very well could lead them in yards when it's all said and done. And a guy that you can pick up in like the 12th round. Absolutely loving that one.
I've got two, and Kevin, I don't know if you wanted to take either one of these two.
Go ahead. I have a list, dude.
Okay, cool.
I love the stacks this year.
I've got two, and one you can only do in a single quarterback, and that's Mahomes Kelsey. You're not going to be able to pull that one off if it's a super flex because both of those guys will be gone in the first round. But in a single quarterback league, you can get Kelsey in the first and potentially Mahomes in the second, maybe in the third. I would be shocked if you got him in the third in a single quarterback, but it's possible. So that's a stack that you could very easily do. And obviously those two have been just insane over the last couple of years. This is pretty much automatic points week in and week out. You do not have to worry about, oh, will I get points out of these two? Like, no, you're going to get yours. And then my second one is Hurts and A.J. Brown. Again, this is a single quarterback. You might be able to pull it off in a super flex. Hurts and A.J. Brown. Again, maybe you can pull it off in a super flex. But the one you can for sure pull off in a super flex is Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith. I think you can easily pull that one off in a super flex. And that is, I think, a great stack there.
The two players are great for redrafts, right? Doing a bunch of best balls. That's kind of where I geared this, right? So if you're doing a unique best ball lineup, the Bengals, if you have the number 2 overall pick in your best ball draft, the Bengals are an amazing stack because you can get Chase, you can get Higgins, you can get Burrow, and then you can follow it up in the 4th, most cases, and get Joe Mixon. Like, you can absolutely take your first 4 picks all from the same team and completely separate yourself as far as it being a unique roster from anything else that league's going to offer. So the Bengals are kind of top on my priority list. The Cowboys offer that same type of situation, right? You can get CeeDee Lamb, then you follow it up with Tony Pollard. Then you can follow it up with Cooks and Dak. Right. So you can do that with the Cowboys as well. And there's plenty, right? I mean, we can keep going through the list because this year it sets up well. Single quarterback league, like Alex was talking, Diggs, followed up with Josh Allen. Then you can get James Cook. And then right after that, you can get Gabe Davis, right? Like you can do a Buffalo stack that way. And I got some more, but I don't want to keep stealing Derek's. But
No, you're good.
I got a couple more here on this list. When you get done, if you don't touch them, I'll briefly hit it.
Well, another one that you're talking about for a best ball type of deal. You could do the Tua Tyreek Jalen Waddle as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's another one that you can take Tyreek Hill, right? And like this is one of those that you don't even have to really like you don't really have to wait for the board to fall for it. You can force this one if you wanted it to, because you can take Tyreek in the first, you're assuming that you're in probably one of the top 6 picks. Jalen Waddle will be sitting there for you in the second, and you can take Tua in the 7th or 8th, and he'll be there. And then you can also build out the roster. But for like a best ball deal, like that's another lineup that just makes a ton of sense. Another one out there as well. That you could do and not necessarily have to really force it. Just going to redraft Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford. If you're, the board falls to you where you take Cooper Kupp in that first, second round, kind of where he's been going in that late first, early second. You can follow it up with Matthew Stafford as a late QB type of deal, and that stack will definitely be there for you. The Detroit Amon-Ra and Jared Goff. Yeah, you could also even get Monty in the mix there as well. Like there's a lot of really good stacks there. But Kevin, I'll just pass the baton back to you and let you keep rocking and rolling.
Right on. So the two of those were ones I had on my list. So I absolutely agree. I think another one that's fun is the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
You can go Eckler, you can go Keenan Allen or Herbert, depending on how the draft is set up, but you can get this done, right? Eckler, Herbert, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams is falling late, and then you can get Gerald Everett really late at tight end, right? So you can do a deep stack, right? A five player stack of the Chargers if you think that this offense is going to be, a top performing offense in the league, which makes your lineup unique in best ball formats. And then the last one I really had on here was the Seahawks, because you're able to do a Seahawks stack with DK and Kenneth Walker and Tyler Lockett and Geno Smith. So again, you're hitting all the high points of offense. So the way that the draft is breaking down this year, there are a bunch of available stacks, right? If that's what you're going for, especially in best ball leagues, and you're trying to differentiate your roster, you can absolutely do that. It's an ugly one, but it's one that we were doing a live draft, a quick draft here at the start of the show. And it's an ugly one, but you can easily do the Falcons stack, right? And you can grab Bijan and Pitts and London and Desmond Ridder. Like, it's not super pretty, but you were hitting absolutely every major focal point of that offense. So even if you do it without Desmond Ridder, getting Bijan and Kyle Pitts and Drake London, that's kind of a unique stack right there, right? They all have upside. We think Bijan is going to be obviously high-end upside at running back, but Drake London, you could see, top-end wide receiver 2 numbers out of Drake London possibly, and Kyle Pitts. The performance that we got out of Kyle Pitts last year was terrible, but if you look at how many passes thrown his way were off target, right? Off target passes. He led the league for tight ends and off target passes, but in target share, the only person he trailed was Mark Andrews. So they're going to force him the ball, and he had the highest ADOT for tight ends, right? So big play, tight end. I think we're going to continue to see more of that. We just hope he comes down with it. We need Ridder to be more accurate than what Marcus Mariota was. That's ultimately what we just need.
Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, the bunches of them, right? I mean, you can do it with the Broncos, especially now that Judy's even with Judy beforehand, it was honestly easier. Judy, Javonte, Sutton, Russell. Like, you could absolutely pull that off with the Broncos. You could throw Greg Dulcich in there if you wanted to as well. And you can do one with the Jaguars also. You can do – did you say that, Alex? Did you say the Jags?
No,
you could do ETN, Calvin Ridley, and Trevor Lawrence, right? So tons of them, right? It's how it falls. It's how you want to differentiate. But in best ball formats, this is really what helps separate your teams apart. And yes, you kind of live and die by it. But if you're in high stakes best ball type drafts, these stacks are what separate your teams. And this is a gold mine when you start trying to figure out how you're going to be better than the other 11 opponents in your league.